What up? It's your boy, the Incredible Man. And yes, I am back at it again. And this is 911 Lone Star, Season 2, Episode 14, the finale. And what the crap is this, man? Let's talk about it. The episode started off great. Then it took a weird turn for some reason. This episode was legit, man. We see that the 126, we know that it got exploded and blew up by the crazy arson guy. So everybody's kind of a little separated right now. We have Judd, Marjan, and Paul at the 122, I want to say. They're at the 122. And Proby is at the 129. And Owen is at the deputy chief's office. He's running numbers and helping the deputy chief out as his go-to guy. And we see that Owen is putting in work, man. Like, we know that he's that kind of guy. He's meticulous. He does like certain things like that. And we see that kind of work paid off because he is basically ending up saving the whole Austin Fire Department $2.7 million by cutting off a bunch of extra stuff, which is legit. But now we see that the deputy chief wants Owen to take over his position, and we see that Owen is kind of struggling with it because that's not what he wants. He wants to be the captain of the 126, and he was kind of considering it, but he doesn't want to leave the members of the 126. So he sits down with someone he considered a friend, which is Billy, and he tells Billy about this whole predicament about, the deputy chief wanting him to take over. And Billy was like, well, that's not for us, man. Hey, we're the guys that we run into the fires. We like to be hands-on the ground. And so after talking to Billy, he kind of reconsidered taking the offer. And then boom, bam, the whole dust incident take place. But before that, we see like the whole case starting itself. This one dude is trying to get his pilot license, and he's flying, I want to say a Cessna, and boom bam, this dust storm comes and they telling him to turn back. He's like, what did you say? But I won't get certified if I turn back. So he doesn't turn back. The big dust storm comes and he like crashes into a plane, and next thing you know, boom, everything starts happening. We see the 122, I want to say that's where everybody's at, and the dust storm starts sweeping them up. It starts sweeping up Owen and Billy. Proby's not there. He's out getting dinner, so lunch, and he gets swept up in it, and like boom bam, this entire thing happens with the dust storm. Now everybody's wrapped up in this dust storm. Also at the same time, we see that Tommy is deciding to tell Nancy and TK that after her husband died, I don't know if I can do this anymore because I have to be there for my daughters, and I don't have to work to worry about extra money because my husband's life insurance policy left us with a lot of money. So I just really want to be there for her. She just want to really be there for her daughters. And while telling them this, like they're a little heartbroken, but they completely understand why she decided to not to do it anymore. And I'm with them. Like I wish Tommy would stay on, but I understand if she doesn't want to. And, in that particular moment, boom, bam, the whole dust storm happens. Now, I love the entire thing with the dust storm because it was a nice scene for one. Like the way it was set up was freaking fantastic. But we get to see Proby shine during the dust storm, man. You got to be 100%. We know that, because he's dyslexic, that, he had to listen to the manual and everything and kind of get it down packed. But to see him in action with no one else around, like he's the only one there that could actually help these people. And he was even a little traumatized when he found the girl that served him his food. She ended up being impaled and dead in front of him. That kind of shocked him a little bit. But the fact that he's out here, he's setting up triage, he's helping people, he's directing civilians to help these other people. Proby is on it, man. He was legit. Proby was legit this episode, and I see why at the end of the episode, Owen decided, whenever we get the 126 back, hey, you're no longer a Proby. You're firefighter Matteo Chavez, because dude went in this episode, man, even helping the people inside of the building. He didn't know that they were covered in jet fuel. Good thing Owen arose at the scene just in the nick of time. But Proby was putting in work. And we see that Owen decided to help all these people while him and Billy was having lunch, and that kind of really just jarred Owen back to the experience of being a captain and not, up in the office. So with that taking place, he was worried because the 129 didn't call in because their truck was lost and broke down during the dust storm. Then no one could really get a hold of him. So he called the house itself to find Matteo because he was worried about Matteo because Matteo was separated from everybody else. Marjan, Paul, Judd, they were all together. So, and Proby was by himself, which was a little weird. And then we see that these people treated Proby a certain type of way because he was a probation officer, and it's messed up because Proby earned his credit, man, because this episode showcased that, and he just so happened to be separated, and Owen found him giving triage help and all these people, and your boy put in work, man, and Marjan and everybody else pulled up to the scene, and it was like, well, we can't give triage because triage is already set up, and who done it? And like the way that they set it up, the little old man was like, that handsome firefighter right over there, and I was like, Cap, what are you doing here? And he was like, no, the one about Proby set all this up. Proby done his thing. And even the 126 kind of recombined to save the people in the elevator. It was nice. It wasn't too much going on in this episode. It was all just one big entire wrapped up episode dealing with this. But I love the scenes with Nancy, TK, and Tommy, because, she was there. And they were like, well, I totally understand and I get it. But when the dust storm took place, TK and Nancy were like, well, we got to go help these people. Do you know where they keep the keys? For sure. Let's go save these people. And then her daughters come out and tell her, Mommy, you have to go help these people. They need help. And she was like, but baby, they need you, Mom. And the next thing you know, the whole 126 there, TK, Nancy, Paul, Proby, Judd, Marjan, did I say Paul? And Owen, man, like the whole 126 squad ended up together again, and it just felt good to have the 126 back together. But we see that the captain of the 129 started tearing into Proby because, well, why didn't you radio in for help, and why didn't you do this, da 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 da. He just started tearing into him. The next thing you know, he collapsed. But before that, Proby told him off. You're like, hey, don't be coming at me, man, all right? He's like, I read the manual backwards and forward. I listened to it, because my friends helped me. Okay. And, but like we see him tearing into it. The next thing you know, the captain passes out because he swallowed so much dust, and it kind of like, messed up his throat. And he's kind of, how did she say, drowning on dust, if you will. Dude, I bet that hurts. But anyway, man, so that was the entire episode. Like, wasn't too much going on. It was like a lot of individual parts, but it all ended up tying together. And at the end of the episode, after Owen decided not to, really take the job as the next deputy chief, he decided to clean the 126 themselves. Like, they take part in actually clean the 126 themselves. And I feel like that part spoke volumes because, they were never really just giving them leeway to do anything anyway. It was all this red tape and, well, I don't know why they can't do anything. So they decided to clean it themselves. And after they started cleaning it and doing their whole little thing, Billy bops in and tells them, well, hey, you guys, yeah. And what I mean by, like, it took a hard turn because I knew we couldn't trust Billy, man, but after the last couple episodes, Billy stepped up. Billy seemed like he had changed, maybe even just a little bit. And the next thing you know, he stabs Owen in the back and was like, well, with a lot of budget cuts and all this other stuff, we decided not to reopen the 126. This coming from the man that supposedly is my friend. And I don't know, man. I felt like I wanted to trust Billy, man. I felt like he started to change, maybe even just a little bit. Not a lot, but maybe just enough. And then he decides to get this position after he talked Owen out of it. And the next thing you know, well, we gonna shut down the 126. We just don't have the funds to do it. And Owen decked him at the end of the episode, which was lovely, and it was well deserved. And I hope that's not the case, man, because I don't want the 126 to separate. I mean, we just got back together. I mean, even the little separation that we had in this episode, I didn't like it. It was cool because, they still had to work, but I didn't like it. I want the 126 back together. And we also see that Grace returned to work this week, and she ended up saving someone yet again. I love that Grace does that, man. Like, to separate from 911, 911 Lone Star does it a little different with the call center because Maddie helps people in certain cases and everything like that. But Grace comes in and Grace really dives into it and like makes these people really help themselves in these situations because the paramedics or the firefighters may not have enough time to get there. So Grace really just dives in and allows them to help themselves with all these other different protocols. You even notice that she was like, I didn't even know we had a buried protocol, but hey, it is what it is. And she ended up helping save this lady, and everybody was happy to see her back at work. They were, clapping and celebrating. They even got her like a fruit bouquet. It was nice to see Grace back in her element. And she was like, I don't know what I would do. You know, like this is the one place I feel super happy and excited to be. And it was just nice to have that moment. But overall, it was a nice finale. It wasn't too much going on, and everything that was separated, it ended up tying back together in the entire episode. But that whole Billy moment, it just changed the entire episode for me, man. I mean, it was doing great up into that part, and then they get to that part, and then it just, I know they had to end it on a cliffhanger, though. I know this. But I'm just saying, this is the cliffhanger they decided to end it on? This is really incredible, man. And I enjoyed it, though. I enjoyed both this and 911, and both of them are absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait till they return, man. This is really incredible. Don't forget to smash the like button till you can't smash any more. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them and subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. Peace out.